Hello, hello, I'm author Stacy McAnulty. When I visit schools, I often tell young readers that not everything I write becomes a book. Yep, sometimes I write stories and they just remain that, stories. They don't get published and made into a book. And the example I give is a story called Rock. And when I tell this to kids, they often want to hear the Rock story. They want to be a judge and see if it's good enough to become a book. So here I thought I would share this story with you. Now, I am an author and not an illustrator, so I don't have art to go with the story, so it might be a little hard to follow along. I did ask my daughter Cora to supply us with some art to help us with understanding a bit more of it, because as we know, picture books are meant to have words and art to tell the complete tale. So let's give this a read. It is called Rock by Stacy McAnulty, and a couple pictures here have been donated by my daughter, Cora McAnulty. Flint was a rock with a dream. Most rocks don't have dreams. Most rocks are happy just doing rock things, like being part of a mountain, or gathering moss, or gradually eroding. But Flint didn't want any of that. He longed for the greatest job a rock could have. He dreamed of being a pet rock. So he found a young T-Rex. That relationship didn't last long. Pow! Asteroid! A few million years later, he found a young woolly mammoth. But that didn't last long either. Ice Age! But finally, the Homo sapiens came along, and Flint just knew he'd find the perfect companion. Rock, said a cave boy. I love you too, Flint thought. But the cave boy had other ideas. Flint rolled right out of that cave. Then Flint met a medieval knight in training. Rock, said the knight. I love you too, Flint thought. But the knight had other ideas. Flint rolled into the forest to hide. Then Flint happened upon a resourceful young maiden. Rock, she said. I love you too, Flint thought. But the maiden had other ideas. That night, Flint had such a headache. Still, he managed to roll out of the cottage. I will never be a pet, he thought. And Flint, having had enough of the Homo sapiens, hid beneath a tree where he remained for a very, 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 very long time. I'm talking hundreds and hundreds of years. Until a distracted Homo sapien trips over Flint and breaks his video game system. Stupid rock, the boy said, looking at the shattered screen. Stupid Homo sapien, Flint thought. The boy grabbed Flint. Flint braced himself, ready to be thrown, but an adult Homo sapien interrupted. You aren't throwing rocks, are you, son? No, sir, the boy replied, and slipped Flint into his pocket. Flint was going home. Without his video game, the boy was bored. Until the boy taught Flint to play games. The boy gave Flint a bath. The boy tucked Flint in at night. In return, Flint listened to the boy's stories. And Flint held the boy's hand when he was scared. And Flint watched over the boy all night long. What's that? The Homo sapiens' younger sister asked. It's just a rock, the boy answered. I love you too, Flint thought. The end. So that is my story, Rock. Again, it never goes on to become a book, but that book, or that story, still means a lot to me, because once I put the rock story away, I started writing this story, Earth, my first 4.54 billion years. I stopped writing about a pet rock and I started writing about the rock we live on. So sometimes when something seems like a failure, it's really not. We are learning, we are growing, we are becoming better. And that's what happened to me with the rock story. So thank y'all for listening and hope you enjoyed. Bye.